Hey guys, welcome back to the Learning Conjugate YouTube channel. Today we'll be doing max effort upper day. We're going to be doing a movement that I took from Ryan Kennelly. I was watching his channel last night, Benchmaster TV. They were doing a bench press, like a one board press against bands, mini bands. So that's what I'm going to do today, work up to a heavy single. And then after that, maybe some back downs and some tricep work. So, hey guys, what's up? Here today doing our workout. Again, I took this one from Ryan Kennelly. You can see there I'm just checking the safeties to make sure they're high enough to catch the weight in case I miss. Not that anyone would ever miss on a max effort lift, of course, but yeah, I want to make sure that it would be high enough to catch it. Again, yeah, this is one I took from Ryan Kennelly. If you don't know who Ryan Kennelly is, he was a world-class bench presser. He's still a very, very strong bench presser, but back in the old days, man, he was going for the world record, and it was him and Scott Mendelson competing for the world record here. I remember Louis Simmons telling a story in one of his videos talking about Ryan Kennelly coming to the bench press competitions or, the lifting competitions he would bring his guys to, and Kennelly would, in the warm-up room, he'd do a close grip. These guys a lot of times with the shirted benching, this is 135 on the bar, by the way. The guys with this shirted benching, they would warm up raw and then put their bench shirts on, and then that's when they would go for the biggest weights possible. But I remember Louis in one of his videos talking about Ryan Kennelly. In the warm-up room, I think he did like 625 or 635 raw with a close grip. I think his index finger was on the smooth part of the bar. There's 185, by the way, for a few. But yeah. 635 raw, close grip in the warm-up room before he ever put his shirt on. It's like this guy was beating people in the warm-up room, before he even put the shirts on. He's already done more than some of these guys were doing with the shirts. So crazy, crazy strong bench presser. Anyway, there's 2.25 working up here. And then this is 275. This is where it starts getting a little heavy for me. I'd say the bands here, my guesstimate is it's about 80 pounds. There's a single, and then there's 305, and this is the top single. But I'd say the bands are adding about 80 pounds here. So 305, one board, plus 80 pounds of band. And, the funny thing about the bands is what I've noticed, at least for myself, you can see right here, even though I got it, definitely some form breakdown here. So I move on to the accessories. So today the accessory, I'm sticking with this close grip 2-board to try to work the inner head of the tricep, which I actually feel it. At least the first day I use this, I felt it in my tricep, the inner head, quite a bit, which is why I chose to stick with this. So this is 315, even though you can't tell because I didn't use the 3 plates. But yeah, that's 315. Just doing some sort of AMRAP sets here, just as accessory. And then we go down to 295. I don't remember how many I got with this, but I think it was more than 10, which I was happy with. Anyway, when it comes to band tension, it's funny because my body really can't tell the difference between straight weight and band tension. I know my best squat is 625, and if I go down to the basement or the gym or whatever, and I put like 450 in bar weight, or let's say I put 100 to 120 pounds of band on the bar, I mean, it's going to come in right around that 625 when you add everything up. It's funny because everybody thinks, so here's 275, by the way. It's funny because everybody thinks that band tension, is so much easier than straight weight, especially in the bottom. And, there is some logic to that because there is some, obviously the bands shrink when you go down to the bottom position of the movement, but I don't know, try it for yourself, but I feel like when I do that kind of stuff, I mean, it's very close in terms of the amount of weight I can use. All right, so there's 275. I think I got it for 12-ish, and then I go to some T-bar rows here. I actually got a little rubber thing to put on the end of the barbell, which is nice, so it's really easy to do T-bar rows here. But yeah, I noticed that with the bands, it doesn't really matter. It's about the same, within probably 5%. And I think some people have a misconception about the human strength curve and the limiting factors in these lifts. Because in my experience, oh, by the way, I got this from Amazon. It's just a dip machine. It's got kind of a short arm on it, so you have to use a lot of weight. And the plates do move around on it quite a bit, so I had to put the collars on there. I might have to rough it up with some sandpaper because it's really slick where you put the plates, so they move around quite a bit. And you do have to load up quite a bit of weight on this one because the arm is so short, but man, I really like it. Anyway, back to what I was saying before. I think that maybe people who don't do lifting weights, they think that the hardest part of the lift is the bottom. And there is some truth to that, whether you're gear or raw. The bottom part of the lift, these bicep curls I'm just doing, sorry, I keep cutting myself off, but I'm doing these bicep curls because I've been having some tendonitis issues. So this is like really low weight. I mean, 10-pound dumbbells here and going for 50 to 100 reps here. So anyway, I guess I can finish my point. But people think the bottom end of the lifts is what limits the lifts. And certainly it feels like the hardest part, but actually, if you look at raw or gear, very rare to see somebody get completely stapled by a bench press where they can't move the bar at all off their chest. If they do, they're probably just using weight that's way too heavy. Same with squatting. It's very rare to see somebody get stuck at the very, very bottom of a squat. Usually it's a few inches out of the very bottom is where they get stuck. Same with the bench presses. It's a few inches off the chest. Same with deadlift. Deadlift tends to be a little more variable, I think, because some people miss at the very top and things like that. But generally speaking, most people don't have problems in the very, very bottom of the lifts. It's right above the very, very bottom where people tend to struggle. And so I just say all that to say, like with the band tension, it does shrink in the bottom, but the very bottom isn't where people struggle. Usually it's right at parallel or slightly below parallel, or even maybe slightly above parallel where people tend to struggle. Whether you're talking about raw or gear, it doesn't really matter. So it's interesting how even using band tension, you come to pretty much the same conclusion. So anyway, that's the video for today, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.